Hello, this is Michael Gross, and you're watching What's Neat with Ken Patterson.
This is going to be a good show.
And it will be. There's a lot of stuff to talk about.
I know, right? We have nobody to give us a countdown tonight. Daniel is not here. I so miss you, Daniel. This is going to be fun tonight. All I have to do is put on the microphone, right?
That was a good warm-up.
Okay. I sound hot. Why do I sound so hot?
Oh, man, but just think, man,
I'm
22 years ago, coming down in
Good
here
sound.
with that layout and
Mike's
the
got
different-
good sound.
all that stuff. It was a lot of
1,
neat
2,
shit going
3.
on.
I have
A
good
lot
sound.
of neat stuff.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Sure.
Ready, set, go for number 206.
How about that?
We're gonna have fun tonight.
I'm 6. I should have been here for 200. Anyway.
And the What's Neat This Week video podcast is supported by enthusiastic model railroaders just like you.
These are anyway.
And by GL Robotics. With over 61 colors of 3D printing filaments in stock, your gateway to new technology. Check out their website at glroboticsusa.com. Additional support is provided by Spring Creek Model Trains, your destination for model trains. Stop in and say, wow. Check out their website at springcreekmodeltrains.com. And by Intermountain Railway Company, where the detail makes the difference. Check out their website at intermountain-railway.com. Further support is provided by Microengineering, keeping you on track with quality products for 55 years. Check out their website at www.microengineering.com. Order from your local dealer or order direct by calling 1-800-462-6975. Additional support is provided by Yelsma Graphics, America's leading distributor of quality railroad art and embroidered clothing since 1985. Check out their website at yelsma.com. Further support is provided by the NCE Corporation, the power of DCC. Visit their website at ncedcc.com. And thank you for supporting the What's Neat This Week podcast. This is the What's Neat This Week, show number 206 for August 20th, 2022. I'm your host, Ken Patterson, the host of that What's Neat show over at Model Railroad Hobbyist Magazine, and I've got exactly 5 more days to get that show done. Thank you, Joe, for the extra time to be able to get the RPM Meet show completed and out. In that show, we've got 10 interviews with various modular layouts, modelers, and manufacturers. And as always, every year, we try to make it interesting by showing all the segues of all the models that were presented on the table. They had 38,000 square feet this year at the convention center over there in Collinsville, Illinois, and it was quite an amazing show. Now, we're just fresh off of the NMRA show here in St. Louis. That was last week, and a lot of folks enjoyed show number 205, where we had a lot of special guests in town,
Yes,
including the folks
that was
from New
great.
Zealand and from Chile. And thank you very much for all the kind words that we had received. Tonight I've got with me on the set Mike Budde. Hey, Mike.
Hey, everybody.
It's good to have you.
All right. Thanks.
And I've got Dave Davis with us tonight.
It's been a long time, but I just couldn't wait, and this had to happen.
This is the way it all got started for us. Mike and I, starting 30 years ago, would sit down here in this same basement or each other's basements, and we would model as a group. And we would try to create magazine articles for the model press.
And share ideas.
And we did all of that together. Dave, you were in Great Model Railroads 2001. That was one of the most spectacular presentations of your grain elevator scene that you had presented, where you and I spent days doing sunrise shoots and shooting that module outside. And your scenery was second to none.
Well, it was, this is one thing Ken taught me early on. Only get the camera as close as the work is good.
Right, that's true.
And but really, that's a good thing, and that helped me be a better modeler, and just in the fact that, it helped me develop the track and these things that look good in a sunrise, where Ken could get that certain glare off the natural sun. And to have him have that come to life was such a treat for me. And it's not just the magazine articles and the fame, but it really, people started paying attention to the ugly part of model railroading instead of, everything's crystal clean, and which things are.
Right.
But it helped a lot. It helped to, we'll talk about this later, but it helped to come up with things like this.
Where Dave loves to cast his own railroad ties off of actual ties that he creates, and which saves time.
It's actually what it is I made these ties out of plastic and purposely screwed them up, and then because I couldn't do them all individually, so I went ahead and did that and made molds of them.
Right.
And then later on, I started taking real railroad ties and chipping them down, and you'll see that here coming up, and how the closer you get, the more real it looks.
Yeah,
so I had the right color, the right texture, and all I got it for was to color match it.
Yeah.
But it came to doing that and gluing the spike plates down to the rail, and you'll see all that later. Sorry.
That's awesome. No, this is awesome. So, Mike, we just came off the show, and we had that open house here. And the one thing we talked about was all the folks that were so, they paid us, the word I keep using is homage. Mm-hmm. When we did magazine articles in the model press, and I've done 450 personally, working with actually both of you guys.
We've been in a couple of tidbits, yes.
175 cover photos in the model press, of which a lot of them, as I always say, are hanging up down here. And they're enjoyable to look at. It's a lot of great memories.
It is great eye candy.
Right?
And then somebody will come down in the basement and go, man, these are some great pictures. And then they finally figure out. It took me a few months to figure it out. But all of a sudden, no, that's all Kenny's covers. Like, holy Jesus.
Those are
He had to
models.
quit when he ran out of wall space.
He did quit, but he didn't. There's still some slides, and there's cover shots
yeah.
all in those
All
little
right.
cabinets
But
over
he
there.
had to quit framing them anyway because he ran
I
out of
quit
room.
framing them. Yeah, I just started pinning them up.
Yeah.
Now, some might call that a serial killer wall of shame, but not down here.
That's funny. I want to give a special shout out. Susan Getty. Now, you will remember that Bob Getty is the gentleman that created the What's Neat Index
Right.
for the What's Neat show over at Model Railroad Hobbyist Magazine. And that was the index where he put in the beginning title on the homepage of that. In case Daniel's not around to tell you what episode it's in, here's an index that does just that
We
for
finally
you.
got to meet him at the show. That was pretty cool.
And
It's
he
a
did
lot
that
of
of this
work.
show?
Right. Yeah.
It's a lot of work. He does it every
RPM.
month to update the What's Neat show at Model Railroad Hobbies Magic with regards to what subject matter is in the show, or what guest might be on the show, or what layout
Right.
might be on that show. And his wonderful wife, Susan, painted a photograph, and they presented it to me last week at the open house that we had here on the property for the NMRA. That's when all the charter buses were letting folks walk up the driveway, and Holly and I greeted every single one of y'all with a handshake before you got past the garage. But this is a beautiful watercolor painting that Susan had created, and I was just absolutely thank you. Thank you so much for the fact that you took the time to paint one of my favorite railroads.
And it is, isn't it?
It's a little work of art. Susan's got a website, susankgetty.com, whereas she has done photos or paintings like this of people's houses or their pets or their favorite things and mementos in life. So she does watercolors for various folks. You can contact her or look at her up through that website. But thank you very much, Susan. It was a very kind gesture, and I will hang it up down here. I'll take down a cover and hang it up down here.
The only thing I
promise
can say to top that is somebody who can do that must be excellent at scenery.
Oh, yeah.
Wouldn't you think?
Right?
Takes
I bet
a
they're
real
a great
artist.
couple when they work together.
Oh, he'd be lucky if she would do the scenery.
So going on next, we're going to talk about track tonight, Dave. I have a suspicion, aren't we?
Yeah, and this comes back to Chris Palomares, and way, way, way back when he started with you. You guys started the podcast.
Right.
And I was doing something with the track, and he goes, you know what would be neat is if you take like 5 different brands of ties, chip out all these, put these different ones in there, and now you got all your different sizes, and if you want to file them off and they look like they've been eaten through. And he really started all this. I wish I could have brainstormed this one.
Yeah.
I can't claim fame to that because he started it all, and it did work. And the track that you'll see later on B-roll, the main line is his idea, and the branch line is something I came up with by doing real wood ties.
I'm
And,
showing it right now.
well, this is neat stuff because I couldn't wait to get that finished. Now, that's 900 real ties with 1,800 spike plates and all kinds of time that just seemed to go like that. I couldn't wait to get it done. Such a revolutionary thing he came up with. And like people, the hobby shop out in Deschler, but there's a guy that will probably take on something like that.
Yeah.
Somebody like that, and that family as well tuned in together as they are, will probably come out with our flex track.
Mm-hmm.
And if we would have handed them a coupler idea 10 years ago, we may have a scale coupler other than Surgeon.
Yeah.
You know, it's people like that
Right,
that help
small.
these things evolve.
Yeah.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
You, as I recall back then, you were always driven at the small details that we would generally overlook. The couplers, the wheels, the quality. You didn't make track that ran smooth. You made track where the freight cars would literally wobble. And they all did.
At the correct spot, see? That's the
Right.
thing. At the joints are always the weakest part of it. Mm-hmm. But see, here I think I'm coming up with this stuff. And here's a guy in Appleton, Wisconsin, that came up with the hand-laying track when they was 14 years old, the Eggerts.
Yeah.
The Eggerts, the dad and now the son and stuff. But yeah, he told me, he goes, oh yeah, we was go down there and watch the same crappy track, and the Northwestern track in Appleton was terrible and dirty. And he went home and modeled it. And then I go up to Minneapolis by Bob Rivard. I go to
Yeah.
that basement in that hobby shop, and here's a guy did a whole 18-track yard, of jointed rail, using Shin O'Hare rail joiners, cutting the rail and all that.
Man.
So I mean, people are paying attention to it.
Yeah.
And maybe now something like this will come to market where some guy doesn't have to sit down in his basement and do this. You know, maybe he wants to do scenery, he wants the track to look good, but
Yeah.
man, it'd be nice to buy it like that.
Right.
Look at microengineering. They're the ones that brought detail to the track.
Yeah.
They were the first ones with a super detailed switch.
Yeah.
And to this day, it's hard to match that. And that says something.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they came out with ladder tracks. They've evolved over the
The
years
number 5
Yeah.
and
ladder.
done some
Right.
great stuff. They've helped you with bridge stuff. They've helped with all kinds of projects for bridges and buildings. And so,
Microengineering just creates they have such a broad variety. But
Well,
I
that
will
too.
say one thing, they make the bridges, they make the wheelworks line of vehicles, they've got the line of buildings in HO scale and N scale, plus they make track in O gauge, HO scale, N scale, and not just those scales, but different codes of rail, different weights of rail, which I have been using their track in every single one of my ad photos since I ever started shooting ad photos 30 years ago.
hey, not to take anything away, but they're the only ones that use the actual rail form.
Yes.
If you look, and if you're not that anybody's going to be looking at your track that close to notice it, but if you want to start out with something that you want to look
right.
good on camera or just want to look right, I mean, they have the right profile on their rail. And I found that out, as you'll see in my switch and all this.
We've discussed that on this show. I've actually held up a cut section of rail that's about a
Yes.
quarter of an inch thick. I don't even remember where I got that, out of a scrapyard, I believe. But it's the rail head shape. It's all of that. And
Yes.
they captured that, and they make sure that they get that
Is
part
that
right.
indexed on one of your shows?
It is indexed
Yeah.
on the
good.
Somebody
shows.
did an
Good.
index for that.
Yeah, well, there is one, he said.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Absolutely.
Anyway,
Another thing we're going to talk about tonight, we have a lot to talk about actually tonight. Do you think that the ties that you create, I want to step back for a second. Next month, we will have the new owners of Microengineering on this show. It's going to be a
Wow.
very good show, whereas, yes, it has changed hands 2 weeks ago now, as of today, and they're great people. I've met the father, I've met the brothers, and it's so wonderful that we're not going to lose that company now that Ron is going to retire. And Ron, we wish you all the best. I know you're going to
absolutely.
have fun. You've
And
definitely
thank
earned
you
it.
for all
50
those
years.
Yeah.
years of doing something that you would rather do something else. And I mean, he really did. There was a guy that toiled away like a yard switcher.
Yep.
You know
The
what
next
I mean?
thing we got to get in your hand, which we haven't done yet, I want to see what happens when you incubate with a 3D printer. Where you
Wow.
can start making anything you can imagine. You draw it up in a program, and you could probably print off your own track hardware, all the things that you want. Definitely joint bars,
Yeah.
especially with a
Any,
resin
you know
printer.
what? Any dead rail thing you want,
Right.
where you just be pushing a car on it, you want to have to paint it. You know, it'd be naturally brown and all this. Wow.
Well, James Regier built an entire locomotive, the shell, including now gears. Yes, and the gearboxes.
So is that
You
a
gotta
different
watch that
plastic?
episode.
Is there different plastic they put in to hold up for the gears and stuff? Or is it
It's-
just static,
It's all
static
printed out of the
details?
same
James
resin, I think.
experimented with different types of resins.
Okay.
Because there are hard resins, there are softer resins, and he found one that specifically worked for him.
Okay.
And all of this can be found at gnlroboticsusa.com. Greg Summerland and I have talked a lot about this. In fact, on one of the shows about 3 weeks ago, we talked about Greg making gears for somebody. Now, he doesn't do it for everybody as a product line, but he showed this gentleman how it could work with the 3D printers and actually printed out the correct gear ratio for a locomotive, whereas he was trying to replace gears in something, in a steam engine
right.
that he had already had. And we showed the clips of the steam locomotive getting
Are
taken
you
apart,
kidding?
getting put back together with the brand new gears in it.
So
3D
the
printing.
different, you know what? I've often wondered every now and then about are there different ones you use for different stuff?
Yeah.
Right.
So there is.
It's
They're making
amazing.
hearts. I mean, just for our little finite part in the hobby,
Yeah,
you
right,
know, I don't
right.
think much past a horn,
Yeah.
you know, but look what's coming out.
Oh man.
Everything.
Now
Yes,
you can go to
yes.
whatsneat.com, and what that is, that's a website. That's a different website than the index we talked about previously, where if Daniel's not around to ask what show on the What's Neat show at Model Railroad Hobbyist Magazine the subject is in, you can go to the WN index that Bob Getty created and look that up. A gentleman on the East Coast named Randy Hook created a website called whatsneat.com, and that's a website for this podcast. So there are two different types of websites, one for the What's Neat show and one for this show that we produce every Saturday night. And on the show that Randy produced, that's how I discovered we had 139 guests. I actually didn't count them. I couldn't have remembered it, and there's no way I was going to go through all the videos. But it's
Yeah.
all there. So you can find out what guest was on what show, or what subject matter was discussed, or what manufacturers' products
You know,
that we
that's
have
a
shared.
double positive.
And it's broken down
Yeah.
by
Know what I mean?
manufacturers.
Right.
That's whatsneat.com. Thank you to these folks that
yeah,
are helping
real
us
bad.
create these indexes to make it easier for you to go back through the 206 shows that we have shot in the past and be able to look up that information.
Like if Mike brought some trailers or something, it's like, oh yeah, I can remember that.
Right?
That's
Right.
going to be neat. Now I don't have to go through and guess,
Yeah.
watch
he's
each
got
episode
everything
or spin through
Indexed
it.
by subject, name.
Every
everything.
Athearn
Yes.
freight car we've ever talked about, every Intermountain freight car
Oh
we've ever
my
showed
gosh.
off, there are photographs of every one of the cars. He pulls the photos that I shoot outside off the video, and so if you go to the Intermountain section, every single photograph of all the cars, all the PFE reefers, all of that is there to be seen. There's hundreds and
And
hundreds
type
of
it
photographs.
in and it's there.
Well, he's a
Yeah.
professional. He does this for a living. So
Well, how about, well,
he
I'm a
tells
little
me it's
overwhelmed
real-
over here actually
Right.
because
He
now
says-
there's a lot of shows I don't have to go through like that I didn't hit every show.
He's like,
Yeah.
it's really easy. I just do this.
Yeah, good. Well, this was easy too. This was easy too.
Pardon me, I know, right? So I want to bring up
Hmm.
this hat that I've got on the table. I talked about it last week. I always say it's pronounced Norfolk Southern. Okay, I
Right,
got that.
here in
But
town.
I always say Norfolk and Southern, or
Why
I
do- why
say
do you do
N
that? I
and
heard you
S.
say that
I know,
before.
people give me trouble all the time.
Yeah.
So a gentleman came by, as I discussed last week on the show,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
gave me a hat
that's where I heard it.
to verify that. I'm not completely blonde, that it could be called
Yeah.
Norfolk and Southern, right?
could
Thank
be.
you so much. This hat was made by Denny Yelsma. I didn't know that. Denny emailed me this week and said, oh, by the way, I think he left it in readers' comments too, that this hat was made by Denny. And Denny says at this time of the year, these stocking hats are really
Yeah, I like
popular.
that one,
We've
too.
got the What's Neat stocking hat right here, which, is pretty good. You can put that on if you want. Just show,
No,
you
that's
can
all
show it
right.
off for us.
Yeah, it's
But
okay.
stocking hats with any railroad logo that you want is available. And I saw his booth at the show. So many jackets, cloth, towels, and T-shirts, and the shirt I'm wearing, and just so many different types of garments. And it's all very high quality stuff. You can actually go through his website, pick out the garment type that you want. Various types of jackets, lightweight jackets, heavy jackets, really heavy winter jackets. It's all there. But tonight's show is brought to you by the letter M. As I start screen capture, we are going to go through the letter M of the various road names that you can have printed on almost anything at yelsma.com. Starting in 3 seconds. Mike, you can see it on that screen up there
Yep.
because I don't have the monitors set up behind us tonight. But we already went over this, and it starts out with the main central, as I recall. And
Well, this could be a good list.
Yeah, it's
There's a few
long
things.
one.
That Monon thing.
Right,
I'd
right.
be on here.
I know, right?
The
This is a great
M's.
website. If you guys haven't seen it, you guys need to check it out. It's very professional. Here we got the Michigan Central.
Yeah.
Michigan Central.
Now we're coming up.
That was a subsidiary of New York Central.
of
Was
New
it?
York
Yeah.
Central.
Here's the Milwaukee Road. That was Dave's
There you
layout.
go.
That was Dave's railroad that he
Yeah.
modeled. And there's a lot of different
Milwaukee stuff.
Milwaukee Road emblems. I mean, this is an example
go,
right
here
here
you
of
go.
one that's over 300,000 stitches. It takes 11 hours for him to set this up and then print them with very beautiful shiny threads, like I always say. Here's the predecessor railroads of the Milwaukee, is
Well,
that right?
no, that's actually the
No,
regional railroads,
yeah.
the big four of the
Northwest.
Northwest.
4 of the Northwest, yes. There's the Hiawatha loco there, and here comes the Hiawatha steam locomotives and the dome cars as we went through all of this.
Now, here you go.
F units,
Yes, well, F units, they had a good Jeep back there. And
Yeah,
now
look
look at
at
the
that.
front of that.
the E units.
All the way
Yes.
down to the tight lock coupler. Now that's some
Yeah.
detail. Well, you know, when you go
You're
to
right.
when you go to
Yeah.
train museums and you like a train shirt, it's tough to find something,
Right.
but they're making it a little easier to buy
Yes,
now.
yeah, right.
You know, I might go down here to the Art Train Museum. I haven't been there in years.
This
Yeah,
is
I
really
mean-
cool with the moon,
But it'd
Milwaukee
be-
Road.
Yeah.
The Skytop Lounge observation car. What a beautiful car. That's the
There's
car
a
that
good
Walters
catalog.
had
Look at
made.
that. Looks like it's out of the catalog shot,
Right? The dome
or
car.
the not the catalog, but the brochure on the train back at the time. Wow. Well,
there's
a
that
yes.
FP45 you sold me, the Athearn unit. Remember that?
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. Can I buy it back?
No, I'm not
Good,
giving
because
that
I don't
up.
have any money right now. I'm out of cash.
Here's a Minneapolis and St. Louis.
How about that?
And Mike, you know what this is?
Wow.
The MKT, the
Oh,
St. Louis,
yeah.
San Francisco,
Thank you.
the
Right.
Texas Special.
Right.
MKT.
So they're doing prototype shots as well as paintings or drawings.
Special shout out to Bill Waymeyer. You said hi to me at the NMRA show.
All right, and hi, Bill. I haven't seen you in a long time. And
Right.
Boy, now there's a guy that had the most
He modeled the
bitchin'
MKT.
layout up in
Right.
It's
St.
all
Charles. He
finished
had
now,
the
man.
He named his
I've-
daughter Katie.
yes.
Yes, he
Yeah.
did. So there's a lot of various MKT logos, and of course here comes Mike and my favorite.
Oh,
the
that was a
Missouri
great
Pacific.
layout
Yes.
that he had.
Mopac.
The Route of the Eagles. All of this can be
Yes.
stitched either on a hat or a jacket, and the buzzsaw emblem is how we came up with the What's Neat logo for our show. Actually, we didn't do it. Somebody did it for us, didn't
Yeah.
that-
Yeah, I remember him.
William
I remember you bringing that
Sampson?
up. That was
Yeah,
early
Sampson?
on with the.
William Sampson. Yes.
Sampson,
Yes.
right. Now
Thank
I
you,
said
William.
Monon. It's not. You corrected me on this.
Monon.
Monon.
Right.
But we thought in
That's
some
great.
county it might be Monon.
Yeah.
You know, right? That's a dialect thing.
The Hoosier route, right? The
yes.
Monon.
Yes. The original Hoosier route for
Yeah.
sure.
F units, F3s, ABs. Nice logos. Here's the
The Monongahela? No kidding.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's very thorough in
Yes,
his
he is.
Montana Rail Link.
Bisbee,
Duluth.
iron ore stuff.
Right, an Iron Range. All of this stuff you can see at Denny's website.
And this is just the M's.
Yelmsmo.com.
Yeah. Right.
And he wanted me to mention that all these products are also available at Spring Creek Model Trains out in Degler, Nebraska. Dave was talking
okay.
about that just a few minutes ago. And tonight we're going to show a very special video that we shot on the 11th of this month when Dave and Doug and Mike and Jeff, a family operation, they all four came down here, sat in a studio with us and discussed some of their new products that they're coming out with, the exclusives. As you'll recall, they came out with that HO scale and N scale blue Rock Island auto rack, that
Yes,
Intermountain car
Intermountain.
with their logos on it. And if you go to their website, you'll find a lot of the other products that were exclusives that they came out with. The one they're going to talk about tonight is the Proto Throttle, Scott Thornton's. Is it right? The Proto Throttle. Am I correcting saying
Yes,
it right?
that's it.
That's the throttle where it's like you're running a real locomotive. It's got all the knobs, the dials, and everything as per the prototype. It's a pretty hot throttle for the guys that love to operate. I've heard nothing but good stuff. Campbell Rice loves his. So rock and roll.
Well,
Let's present.
Let
that
me just
video.
say one thing about the hobby shop of Spring Creek.
Go ahead.
Okay, now here is service. I
Right.
was buying trains from them, a couple years ago, and to save me shipping, they said, well, we're going to be at the RPM meet. Do you want us just to bring it there for you? I said, would you?
Yeah.
And they did.
They did that for
Nice.
folks that they know.
Now I went up to the booth, and out of nowhere, here's my ID, and this is this, and well, they couldn't find it for a few minutes, and I thought, well, you know what? They just got here. So I think I was 45 minutes, 50 minutes into the show, and I went on back to go, yo, you find your stuff over here. Now they saved
Good.
me shipping. They certainly didn't have to do that.
Right.
So with that, let's go to Dave, Deb, Mike, and Jeff with the special presentation of the folks when they came down here on the 11th.
All right.
Let it roll. For this special segment of What's Neat, I've got the wonderful crew from Spring Creek Model Trains all the way from beautiful Dejno, Nebraska with us today. Starting over on my side, I got Dave Zucker. Hey, Dave.
How are you doing?
It's awesome to have you in the studio again. You've been here before.
Yes, I have, and it's good to be back.
Sitting next to me, I've got one of your handsome sons, Jeff.
Nice
Hey,
to meet
Jeff.
you, Ken.
It's awesome to actually put a face with the sound.
Yeah, awesome. Glad to be here for
Right
sure.
next to Jeff, I've got the amazing Deb Zucker. She is the glue that holds this whole operation together.
Yep, I do what I can.
And on Deb's right side, we've got her wonderful son, Mike Zucker.
Yes.
So
Good to
you
be
two
here,
You
Ken.
two
Yeah.
boys are brothers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tell me about the passion to work in the family business. How amazing is that?
Oh, that's pretty awesome. So it's fun to be, working together now as the four of us, really. So, Jeff, I guess, what, did you start
5 years ago.
5 years ago?
Yep.
Yeah. So,
Came home to change the business, I guess, a little bit by giving it an e-commerce presence, and that's going really well. That's primarily what I do, so I'm kind of the behind-the-scenes guy.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I moved back about 2 years ago, left my
Yep.
previous career in the, one-to-one railroad, and came to model trains and been helping grow the business, I guess. So
Perfect.
doing a lot of the advertising, purchasing, marketing stuff. So
Why are you guys all in town today?
why are we here again, Mom? We've been to St. Louis before,
come we had
right?
to come?
Yeah, why'd we come back?
Well, the National Train Show, the NMRA convention, is back in St. Louis. It happens that Dave was my first
First show back in
entry at
2001.
yeah, in a national train show venue.
Yeah, downtown, and I think it was called the TWA Center back then.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was a big deal for us at that point in time.
Yeah.
And we are thrilled to be back to St. Louis for the 2022
again.
version of the
It's going to be a
national
good show. It's
How-
the nice thing about this show is the gentlemen that are putting it on already had their ducks in a row from 2 years ago when we
Right.
were going to have it, and so it was easy for them to just pick up the pieces and run with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
That's awesome.
It went smooth putting it together, and I look forward. So far, it's been great at the hotel. I've heard a lot of good news,
Good.
a lot of great
good.
clinics, and a lot of
Yeah.
people that are very happy with what they've seen so far.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's some manufacturers coming out with new products, new announcements, and it's going to be good.
Yeah,
It's going to be good.
we're excited to come to all these, right? The big
Yeah.
national shows. I mean, we love going to all the smaller shows too that we go to, but the national shows are always fun. From
Yeah.
what Dad's saying there, to get to see all the manufacturers, right?
Yeah.
And get to see the new products.
Well,
and,
we get to see people that come from a long distance.
yeah, and the customers that we get to see that we don't see all the time.
Yep.
all the
So
time.
Yep.
Yeah.
ran into some of them today, just going around town. So it's
Yeah.
pretty awesome. So,
That's awesome. Now, you guys are announcing, in fact, a new product yourself at this show,
Yeah.
which is pretty cool. Would you like to talk about this?
yeah, so we've been, working with Iowa Scale Engineering for quite a while. They're the company that does the proto throttle. So we've been selling the proto throttle for them.
Yeah.
Mom's showing the gray throttle off. Right, so
Yeah.
really, I guess, what's the big thing about the throttle, Mom? It's replicating.
Yeah, it's replicating the control stand.
Of a real locomotive.
Yeah. So,
Right.
And
And
real railroaders tell us that this is as close to the real thing as we're ever going to get.
yeah. There's some concern that it's too big, too bulky. It's surprisingly not as heavy as it looks. And I can hold it, so it's not as bad a fit as you might think. It's so much fun to run.
Yes.
The regular throttles, Digitrax, NCE, those things, from my perspective as a non-modeler, it's like, yeah, no thanks. I don't want to touch that. No. Hook this baby up. This
can,
is
huh?
fun. I like this.
So anyway,
Wow.
guess we know now. So.
Lay it
We
on.
have a test track that we carry around from Iowa Scale Engineering that you can run, at our booths. We have them, 50% of the shows that we go to, we carry this
Yeah.
layout with us. So it's not always there, but definitely stop by, check them out.
Yep. Give
we
it a
have
test.
custom deal right this time around. We worked with Michael there at Iowa Scale Engineering to do a red throttle. We're just showing off the faceplate here today, but you can buy the full throttle or just the faceplate from us. This is exclusive to Spring Creek model trains in the red color. So we have several of them still available as we sit here today recording, but
Yep.
they're out there, and this is something maybe we'll do again in the future. It's hard to say, but that's exclusive right now through us, a red throttle. So
Now, you've
kinda
had really
mixes it
good
up.
luck over the years with the exclusive products that you have released to the market.
Oh, yeah.
One thing that comes to my mind, which is around us right now, is
Yeah.
that blue Rock Island auto rack that was available in HO scale and N scale.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that
Yeah.
was a hit.
Yeah.
Tell me about your decision to do this and how's that working out with regards to exclusive products?
Exclusives are
Exclusive, up till now, have worked very well for us. And believe it or not, I am working on about 23 different custom things at this moment with several manufacturers.
Yeah, so we got a lot of things out there in the hopper, and you can watch our website, right? When Dad gets the information figured out with the manufacturers, we get that on the website
Yep.
as soon as we can when we have some good info, part numbers, and all that costs.
Right.
Jeff's got a full page, right, Jeff? How many
Yeah,
items we got on our page right now? for
We're
that?
down to 8
8 items
Yeah.
that are in stock,
that are
right?
in stock still. Yeah.
Available.
We
And
have,
we
we have our previous section that talks about every one that we've done before. And the previous area, those are all sold out and unavailable currently. So that's why we're down to 8. So it's a good problem to have, for
But
sure.
it's fun to do. I mean, it's fun to see. I know, Dad, we got a couple that are on their way. They're not in
Yeah.
our hands yet from
Yeah,
Rapido, right?
Yeah,
So-
Rapido has 2 coming. We're very, very close. Unfortunately, we don't have them for today.
yeah.
So.
But it's the Omax and the
Omax and blue Procar plastic hopper.
Very
car.
cool.
so
Yeah.
be checking those out.
Yeah.
They're on the web, but we'll be excited to show those off, right? So we'll be
Yep.
Yeah.
showing those off with people as we go
Yep.
forward.
And
so.
I'd be glad to visit with anyone that has additional ideas. Please bring me some ideas.
Oh, no.
The one they forgot about too with Rapido is we are also doing the M420 in Iowa Interstate, all 3 road
Oh, yeah.
numbers.
Yep.
Nice.
And that's that's pretty exciting. That's the
Our first locomotive.
Our first, dive into a locomotive, and so far it's been going very well. I'm looking at other regional railroads, so
Yep.
just stay in tune.
So those are on the web. They can check us out, at springcreekmodeltrains.com. So I think you show that quite a bit for us on your show, Ken. So
Because it's such a great website.
we keep building it. So
Now, every 2 years you hold an event in Dedgler, Nebraska, whereas you actually create a train show and modelers drive for thousands of miles to come to that.
Yes.
We went there one year, about 4 years ago, and did a live show there. That's when your new internet website was just getting started and it was going gangbusters then. Tell us about this upcoming new show for 2023.
Well, we have decided on our dates for our train show in 2023. It's going to be July 8th and 9th next year. For those that have been, you're very familiar, but for those who haven't, we have manufacturers come to the show. It's not a lot of vendors, but we bring a lot of different layouts to try to show off the talents across the country that people bring, and they range in size from a big club layout to a very small layout, because we want to show people that you can be in this hobby without having to have the ginormous basement or an extra building. You could do it in a spare bedroom.
Right.
So
or a shelf layout, right? We've
Yeah.
even shown some of those off.
Yeah.
just a few of the manufacturers we've had: Scale Trains, Athearn, Rapido has come.
Intermountain.
Intermountain has come. Quite a
It's
few. We're always looking to try to get more to come, because we want them to be able to talk to their customers and get information, hopefully.
Yeah.
What's nice about the venue is it's intimate. It's an area where you actually can have a conversation and talk. That was one of the reasons why Chris Palomares at one point suggested that we do come to that show, was that we could talk to the manufacturers together as a group.
Yep.
And that's how I found it. It's a very well put on show where you can communicate with the folks you want to talk to.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty fun. So this last show that we had and what this upcoming show is going to be like, we're still putting together all the details, but we're located, the show's located in 4 different spots across our little town. So, I mean, don't let that scare you from coming. I mean, it's easy to get around town, but we've grown the one location to now where we're at 2 more in addition to the store. So
Perfect.
it's
Yeah.
a pretty fun deal. The town helps us out quite a bit, and we get space across town to be able to put
Yeah.
it on. So
Yeah.
So
It's,
check out their website, springcreekmodeltrains.com. Go to their store. I mean, they're open during the week.
Yep.
And oh my God, there's so much product there. It's overwhelming to me
Yeah.
that you guys have got so much product.
Yeah.
If you want it, they've got it, right?
we
We-
try.
we definitely try.
We try.
Yep.
So what else would you like to talk about before we wrap this up?
I don't know.
We're
Any
looking forward to
thoughts?
seeing people at St. Louis,
Yeah.
RPM.
And
Yeah.
future shows, right?
Yep.
So just
Yeah.
that we're
Glad
looking
to
forward
have
to
the
seeing
shows.
all the customers and shows.
Yeah, just so glad to
Fireworks.
have the train show circuit back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
That's
Good to see
awesome.
our friends after a 2-year hiatus.
Yeah.
Yep. Good to talk to people.
That's awesome, Dave. Dave, Jeff, Deb, and Mike, thank you so much for this few minutes
Yeah.
to share what you have got to share with the viewers of the What's Neat show. I really appreciate what you guys do for us to help us promote the best hobby in the world.
Well, thank you, Ken, for what
Thank you.
giving us this platform to come and share. So
Appreciate
Awesome.
it.
it's been a great feature today.
Partnership.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, guys, thank you so much.
Thanks, Ken.
So that was a great video. Thank you so much. It was a fun time to hang out. I took them out on the bluff out here. We walked through the backyard. I got the Garden Railroad running for them. That was so much fun.
That's good.
They're just wonderful people. What did you think? You both had watched that video prior to us shooting this show.
What I saw was a family that is really what we all kind of wish we had, is
Right.
everybody that's just truly into it and does work those long hours. They may as well be farmers, because they're putting in quite a few hours a week.
Well, that's actually Dave's
Dave's
in the
job.
agriculture.
Well, there you
So-
go. So you know
Those
what?
big irrigation things that you see creeping across the fields.
I just shipped out irrigation tires the other day on a
Yeah.
trailer. Yep,
Right.
going out by Nebraska.
Might have been
Yeah,
it.
well, I'm sure they're buying some now.
Yeah.
They've changed, but anyhow, yeah, I can see that this is going to work because they are all into it,
Right.
Yeah.
and it's fun to go travel, and they get to do that. And
Sometimes they do two shows in the same weekend.
Right. They're going opposite directions.
yeah, I mean,
just to
you
get
talk.
the
It's
coverage.
not. These aren't
Right.
just vacation and let's hang out by the pool at the hotel deal. These people are busy. But you know what?
They came to
When
the
are you
RPM
When are
day.
you the happiest? You're happiest when you're busy and you're doing something you want.
Yeah.
And actually now, I think they're gaining sales, and the
yeah.
more that people know what's going on
Well,
with
they're
them,
expanding, like they
which
said.
I'm going to have to watch that all again because I missed some of it.
Yeah, me too.
You know,
That was-
but still, I've come back to the service that they gave me over the phone. Didn't know him from Adam. I just knew
Yeah.
you guys went up there, you filmed a bunch of stuff, and that's where I found some
I'm
trailers.
happy to-
Nobody else had trailers, right?
Yeah.
But this guy's sitting on like umpteen trailers.
the whole wall,
she
the
said,
whole
well,
back
which ones
wall
do you
of the
want?
store.
Which ones do you want? And I said, well, I want this one and this one and this one. She goes, well, I got 5 of these and 7 of those. And I'm going, oh, you're kidding me. Really?
I was happy to
yeah.
hear that they're going to do more of those special runs, like the Intermountain Auto Rack, exclusive to their store. That's pretty cool.
That'd be neat. That sounds neat.
Getting back to the nuts and bolts of the hobby, which is a lot of reasons why we love doing this show. One thing you said to me on the back porch, otherwise known as the green room upstairs,
Yes, that's
was
right.
that it was Mike Budde's. You were coming up with different ways to weather freight cars. You said you were using charcoal, or you were using different chalks, or just coffee grounds was one of the
Coffee
things you
grounds
said.
was-
But it was Mike Budde's oil paint weathering that turned you on. Talk about that story a little bit, about how you and I both learned from Mike. And it changed my ad photography forever in that I didn't...
It changed everything
Everything.
forever.
Yes.
Now, think about it for a second.
You did this, Mike.
And you were down here before I even knew. Next thing you know, you're popping up in an article in Journal.
Right, Rail Model Journal.
And
God
it's
love
that
Bob
Rock
Schaffer.
Island car.
Yeah,
Okay?
yeah.
It's that one. And we're lucky enough. This guy even lives in our town, right? He casually comes over here, and Kenny's got the best thing going, and from Chicago to Kansas City. And we're down here, and Mike shows up with these cars. We're going, wow,
This
man.
goes back to the Midwest Valley Modelers
Yeah,
layout.
yeah.
Yes.
So not the beginnings.
No, right?
But like 12 years into it.
We had
or
a
something.
photograph, and I'm not going to show it. I probably showed it before.
No, you need to now.
We've got a photograph of Mike Budde before we knew Mike, wearing a black jacket, just cruising around the outside of the modular layout that was 36 feet long, 9
That's
feet wide,
right,
the
that's
Midwest
right.
Valley
Yeah.
Modelers layout. That's the Kansas City to Chicago, Santa Fe double track main line. I wore out the book High Green to Marceline building that layout. And plus, I got to give credit to the Kozik brothers up in Chicago.
Yeah.
They were the ones that
inspired
incentivized me.
this whole thing.
Right.
And they really did. They came up with a great concept, and look at Ken went with it.
did.
Pretty kind of along the same lines as everything,
Oh, at
because
first
it
it was
just
almost
was that cool. It was just that great, and it was smart. So what Kenny's not going to sit there and build something else. He's going to build something. He only steal from the
Why
best.
reinvent the
Yeah.
wheel?
Exactly. Here it is in my face. I've been wanting to do the Kenny doing outdoor
God, you
photography.
were all there for that.
Yeah.
That was
Oh.
1988 when we started building that layout.
Well, we didn't. That was the guy from the BN and stuff helped you get the bench work going.
Greg Pappin
and
with
you
the
were
bench
in that
work.
apartment.
Harry Katz.
Yeah.
Harry
Remember
Katz.
Harry? God love
Yes.
him. He's still alive. He's awesome. He's our friend.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I just talked to him and his wife the other day. They're awesome people. And they like Holly. Yay.
Well, how can you not?
I know, right?
Here, so, but anyway,
Back to trades.
yeah.
Talked about the oil paint weather. We got distracted with the
Yes,
layout. And that's
yes.
what's easy to do. This is hobby shop banter. We're all in the hobby shop talking.
Basically.
That's what folks like about what this is. I just wish we could talk with all of you at once, and we could if we did a live show.
but now here's one
We
thing.
could do that.
We know what he was looking at.
Right?
Yeah.
He was looking at the vehicles.
Well,
he didn't
I
care
was-
about the
I was
trains.
looking at the whole layout.
I
thought,
know,
man, if
but
I
you was
ever
looking for
joined
the
a club-
vehicles, and his vehicles were
Yeah.
good, weren't they? They
Seeing
were the
that
best in the
layout is what got me
magazines.
out of
They were the,
basement.
huh?
Seeing that layout is what got me, socially involved with other modelers. Up until then, I was just doing my stuff in the
Like
basement,
everybody
didn't
else.
Show it to anybody else.
Like
but
everybody else.
I saw that Midwest Valley layout, that modular layout, and I said, man, if I joined a club, this is the one I'd
This was
want to
the one.
join. And I don't remember how.
Because the track was the
Well-
only track code. It was code 70. It made it look
Yeah.
better. It trimmed
here's how
everything
we
down.
met. I was in my real estate company back then. I had Patterson Realty, buying and selling
Yeah.
houses all over town. And I always talked to the magazines on the phone in my spare time while I was drinking coffee. So I talked to Jeff Wilson at Model Railroader Magazine, or Russ Larson, or just whoever worked there at the time, and Bob Hunman and Bob Schleicher at Rail Model
Right.
Journal. And you entered a Rail Model Journal freight car contest.
Yeah.
And you entered a Rock Island
Hopper,
a
covered
blue
hopper,
covered
yeah,
hopper
like
that
a
was
4250
weathered,
or
totally
covered
killer.
hopper, yeah.
So Bob calls me up and he's like, "Hey, there's a guy in St. Louis that entered this contest, and I'm not going to tell you who he is until you give me some more articles." I'm like, "What?" It was so funny. But finally, I didn't have to do any articles. I was doing them anyway.
Right,
So
right,
Bob
basically.
finally, and it was also a thing where he had to get your permission to even share your name, because
Yes.
back then a lot of lone wolf modelers didn't want
Yeah.
other people to know.
Right.
I don't know why, but it was
Well,
private.
because they probably get ripped off or whatever.
Well,
it's
never
mostly
know,
theft
but
reasons.
In my case, it turned out to be positive.
Yeah.
Right.
So we got to meet.
But that
Mike.
was a root rock.
Yeah.
That wasn't Old
right.
Rock Island. That was a
It was
root rock.
a
route
car
rock.
that I photographed down in Les Brant's yard.
Les
and,
Prince, yeah.
Brant's
I
yard.
just
So wouldn't
know.
you say that Journal and Mainline kind of created the prototype, the prototype modelers in a way? I mean, they were after,
Yeah.
showing examples of stuff in kit
Right.
form. I need an
What was the
SD39, not an SD40-2 stuff.
What was
you
the
know?
guy's name from Texas that we liked so much?
Carter Osborne?
Carter Osborne in
whatever
unison.
happened to
Hey,
him,
Carter,
man?
are you
Yeah.
out there? You should contact
And he-
us. We'd love to know how you're doing. But Carter Osborne had some various covers. That Mainline
Yes,
Modeler
yes,
was the one that
yes.
presented the most
Close-ups.
prototype
Yeah.
HO
Close-up
scale
stuff. Right.
stuff, right?
Right.
I
With
mean,
the SUV, the Santa Fe
Yeah,
stuff alongside
right.
the trackside.
Yes.
I mean, it's that
he had
memorable.
That module that he would take out in the desert. And,
outdoors.
Yeah.
Yes.
But see, he was fine scale too. Remember his trailers he was doing? He was putting the
Oh,
eyelash
yeah.
stuff for the mud flap
He
things.
worked for UPS, man. He got all
At that time.
took all these photos and what his UPS
Well, I just looked
trailers
at
were.
some in Journal here about a year ago when I was going through them, and
Yeah.
there was he did the dollies and the trailers,
Right. All
and
the-
that's what he did for a living. He was driving a hardcore truck.
Yeah.
And that ain't a good job. That's tough.
Yeah, hopefully he's
keeping
retired
those-
by now.
Yeah, hopefully.
You know, you could 3D print tires too. With
Oh.
the tire treads that you want. A resin printer has that kind of detail.
Yeah, that's something
resin
you've dreamed
printer.
of.
Look,
for a
I was
long
going to
time.
paste on different
All right,
treads.
that's
Yeah,
it. That's
right.
your,
Wow.
That's your Christmas present.
Thank you.
But if I get it for you, you
Thank
got to learn
you.
how to use it. And if you have trouble getting how to use it, problems, you can call Greg Summerland.
Well,
he
you
will
gotta
talk
get the
to you on the
files
phone and
first.
set you up. Oh, we'll have James Regier design his
Yeah,
files.
that's-
And I have,
That's a-
believe it or not, I have access to tread designs.
Yes, but the
Oh,
whole
yeah?
point is Greg will give you one-on-one tutorials over the phone, or he'll even Skype with you, and it's not hard. You're
Oh,
actually
I'm
not
going
going
to know how to use that thing before I even buy it.
We'll get hooked up. No, we're going to get it for you. We're going to hook you up with James
Wow.
Regier, and he's going to show you how he designs these things in the program. Dude, seriously,
It's-
not only just the tires, but
You know,
Mike
he is
showing
the
up
nutty
here with
professor without
trailers.
being nutty.
Yeah.
He
Well-
knows it. He
Yeah.
knows the stuff. He does.
He's
So, wow.
very
If you
intelligent.
connect now, there's a Merry Christmas. That'll make me break out trailers.
Christmas in August.
That's awesome, guys.
Wow, that's really cool. That's really cool.
So with that, you know what? Let's wrap this one up. All right,
Okay.
27 minutes of us talking plus the 12-minute segment from Spring Creek. Thank you so much, guys, for that. Mike, by the way, you brought a freight car. We don't have a cameraman to zoom in. What'd you bring tonight?
It's another tangent car. It's a little too new for my era of 1978, but
Well, I'll take it.
yeah.
I just jumped my era. Well, before this.
It's built in December '79, so I stretch it to anything before 1980 because these cars are just
Too hot.
beautiful. And I remember seeing these when I was living in Maplewood. I purposely rented this apartment right across the street from
They're
the
on Green
Bopac
Park.
main line.
On
yeah.
Green Park, right?
Greenwood.
Yes.
Greenwood.
I know the
Yeah, I lived
apartment.
there for 3 years, and then during that time, Katie was running on the Mopac tracks right across the street. They were renting cabooses from Alaska Railroad. and,
Wow.
man, it was a colorful, good era to be
That is
there.
neat.
But
That
I
is-
remember seeing a lot of those MKT hoppers mixed in with the older red ones with the smaller white letters. But that big
These have been my
green-
favorites, actually.
Oh, me too. Those big yellow letters always stood
It kind
out
of
in
reminds me
any
of the big
train.
Sheriff Sue line stuff. You know, the big letters
Yeah,
was really
Sue
neat.
did the same thing with those giant letters on the
The
side.
black
yeah.
ones, but this was neat.
This
Yeah.
conversation's going to go on all night.
Well, it could.
We will keep talking all night. I know we are. This is how we used to always be. This
Yeah.
was our banter to
And
improve
look, I had
each
Merry
other.
Christmas here already. The tires.
This is literally like
That's huge, man. That is super
this is
huge.
like our viewers are eavesdropping into what we always used to
You
talk
know what?
about.
I
and do.
should have shut up about that.
Oh God!
But I'm
he
glad
can
I
edit
covered
some
my
out.
mouth for those who
Yeah.
can read lips.
I'm just glad you didn't do any cussing tonight. So otherwise, folks, this is the best hobby in the world. And tonight,
Isn't
while
it?
we're
Isn't
talking
it?
and
Isn't
having
it?
fun, I'm going to take the NCE Power Cab and put it in Dave's hand. He's going to get to run that. I'm going to use this, and Mike's going to use his cell phone because you
Yeah.
can do that with the NCE system. And we're going to run some trains
I'm
tonight.
going to run some U50s.
First, I want to say like us on YouTube, ring the bell, or click the bell so that you get notifications of when every one of our new podcasts come out. Be sure
And
to
check out the index.
That's right.
Check
What's
out the
Neat-
index.
What'sneat.com index for this show, because what we talk about tonight will be on it. I guarantee it. That's how Randy Hook works. He's amazing. Best hobby in the world with all the best people in it that help us create this show. Obviously, we can't do it by ourselves. We've got James Regier, we got Mike Budde, we've got, go through the names, Campbell Rice, Joshua Barton, so many people.
Daniel.
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 We love Daniel. We got to watch him grow up on this show. How many
You know,
times
we
was that?
can't, you know what? We can't mention names because that just...
Because you
there's-
never...
Well,
Right.
no, because you're out there and you're going, hey, what about me?
Yeah.
When it's really, there's so many of us.
Right.
Huh. Look at the RPM shows. Look at it. Look at it. Look at it. Look at it. You know,
This is gonna go on for a while.
Look, I helped co-found that and did very little brain work on it. And between John Golden
Right.
and
Kohlberg.
Lonnie.
and Kohlberg and
Yeah.
maybe another guy,
Lonnie
they
Bathurst.
they got it to a point where they got it off the ground and running. And now the right guys are in charge of it to keep it going. You know, much like you have to have civil engineering and stuff, these guys will keep it
They
going.
got it, yeah.
I should have just made
Where,
us some
you know,
coffee
we have
tonight.
other things to do, and I did too, but I just to see what's going on and
Yeah.
and oh man, I'll tell you what, this is now that's fun. It's
Right.
neat to see something you started, going like it's a business.
Yeah.
It's not just a fruit of, a love of labor. Like in the beginning, we were going to get in the tables, and it was just exciting to have people from around the area.
Moving tables in ourselves.
But with him with John Golden being on the internet and whoever else was helping him at the time, those people started coming in from across the country. Right. This was the first year, and it's like, oh my God, man, this is really working.
Yeah.
This is really working.
If we did a live show, we could go on for hours, and we could actually have people sending us comments back and forth and actually talk to them.
And that's really what we need.
Yeah,
you do need something.
I think we did that one time. I don't know how successful.
In Kansas City, we tried that, and we did it down here in the basement one time.
Once, right.
I like to control the edit. I just want to
Well,
make sure,
you have
because you
to
never know
control
what
the
folks are going to say.
Right.
And I want to have a clean, perfect edit, generally.
Well,
plus I
you
can
may
drop
not be
in
able to do
B-roll.
that. You might have to do
It's hard to drop in B-roll for a live show.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Well,
For a
no, you
live
gotta
show,
you
can't
gotta
do
have
that.
something else going on with that, of course, right? But
Yeah.
I mean, it
man,
can be done. But
can be, but
I'm not smart enough, so, okay.
Well, you're
Okay,
smart
guys.
enough. You're just not trusting.
We're going to make some coffee and keep talking like this for hours, and I am looking forward to it. But with
I am
that, we're
too.
got to leave you tonight. So this is the best hobby in the world with some of the best people, and it's sitting around me right now tonight. And so with that, gentlemen,
Three U50s are coming right up.
I like this format. It's kind of unorganized and just down to earth.
It flowed pretty good, I thought.
Let's go run some trains.
All right, I'm gonna for the first time, and those are sweet.
Keep the language clean because I'm going to keep rolling camera one as we roll credits on this, and I will kill sound. Good job, guys. Good job, Dave.
Well, hey, thanks for having me because this was a lot of fun,
was,
and he
man.
gave me a
Glad you
Christmas
drove
present.
an
Now,
hour.
how about payment on that one?
You're right.
Wow.
You're going to love it. You're going to love that 3D print, I guarantee it.
Oh, I've already just
The
envisioned
stuff
it
James
all.
has made. People print everything. And household items. You can make Chrissy's stuff.
Giant tires.
Anything.
Giant tires. Truck tires.
All the startup
car
companies
tires.
that started
car
up.
tires, the profile of the old polyglass.
I'm not even going to kill
Balloon
sound.
out
Let's
to
just
his-
let this go.
Remember, balloon out to a straight tread.
Yes.
I'm going to roll credits in here somewhere, I promise. But
Wow,
it just
man.
keeps going.
It just
At the show,
does.
all the startup companies that I saw at the RPM meet were all new 3D printing companies.
Really?
The startup companies.
Yes. Right.
Yeah.
One gentleman was 20 years old. He's printing out these electric shells that go on freight cars, locomotives.
Transformers.
No,
or stuff?
switchers, electric switchers. These oddball
Really?
little switchers.
Really?
Yes, amazing stuff.
Right out of the second
It's gonna
Diesel
run.
Spotters guys.
It's gonna run in the What's Neat video at MRH for
man.
September.
Why did we not bring that up?
Well, I just did because I'm still running this show right now.
So
I
you
haven't
can-
rolled
you can
credits
put some
yet.
edit. You can edit.
I'm not gonna
stuff
edit it.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't edit that.
Mike,
never did.
we gotta get the coffee going, right?
Yeah, I never said these were from Tangent or anything like that. So
Cool.
these are Tangent PS2 4250.
I'll kill
hours.
camera 2, keep one rolling.
Wow.
Okay.
And we thought brass was so nice.
Yeah, no shit.
This was nice.
It was. You know
Adorable.
what?
I
Yeah,
loved
it was nice. Now you
was
know
awesome.
what? Chris Bratz has a brass engine I would love to have because
34
he
minutes.
tricked it out.
That's okay. We'll do a show in 2 weeks.
Well, you know what? It was just on the track and not the module, so maybe it'll be another podcast.
The Denny segment was good. I liked it. All right, guys.
Smoke
Killing
cigarettes.
sound. 3, 2, 1, stop. This was a very informal type of a show.
That's good, man. That's the way
with information, though.
they used to
I
be.
like it that way.
That's what I think. That's the way.
Highly
everybody
unusual that
likes
we did it this way, but it ran long.
That was good.
And the quick sip, we're talking faster and quicker.
Now I can
Yeah,
call
I
Holly.
can't wait to
Holly,
watch this.
Holly can come back with the kids.
Yeah, call her up.
Be quiet.
I'm gonna get out of here, man.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Hey, Lisa.
Oh yeah.
Ken, is this B-roll for the show?
That was my, I test my whole line. Thank you. And then, I thought, the end all be all, appreciate it. Flash in here, I get 35 years. I'm like, there's no way I'm gonna. Then I thought, well, if I let them have the headaches and it'll just run.